Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today we have Chris, a 15 years toy industry veteran, a sales powerhouse, and also the founder of Triaction Toy. Chris has sold hundreds of millions of toys worldwide, and with his latest win that all about really new product launches and strategy, which we'll explore in today's interview, where he decided to team up with Team Clerk and brought Snooze Monster to life, and how rethinking packaging and pricing really turned into a lot of success. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today, Chris.
Hey there. Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining. So first, before we dive in, can you kind of share your experience so far? Like in the industry, you have been in the industry for so long. What first got you started 15 years ago?
So I was always a musician, just so we're clear. I was an opera singer in Europe and came back, and I was blessed to have worked with Nora Jones on her first two records and a bunch of folks at EMI, where I was the senior A&R coordinator for Angel, Blue Note, and Manhattan Records until I was about 26 years old. And then I went to sell sheet music for the guy who invented karaoke. His name's Irv Kratka.
Oh, really? Okay.
He invented it with a company called Music Minus One. Musicians know that company. And I was blessed. He allowed me to run that company as of the age of 27.
Oh, wow.
And he sent me around the world to get his sheet music distributed. And that's how I learned how to sell and do trade shows. And Melissa and Doug recruited me in 2008. And they recruited pretty hard. They were pretty good at recruiting. And the minute I walked in there and saw what they were doing, I knew I wanted to be there and be part of it. It was a magical place, especially then. And I had the great fortune of learning and watching how Melissa and Doug, the people, had built their company.
Yeah.
It was just extraordinary to see what they had built between the creative process. And really, I give Doug a lot of credit with how he built the sales floor and the sales techniques. I think both of them worked really hard on putting that together. And I learned a tremendous amount working there. And I was there for 8.5 years.
Oh, wow.
I was traveling like 30 times a year for them and opening markets and new customers. And then I went to be VP of sales over at Jazzwares for a few years, where I had the great fortune of just watching this machine of creativity and learned about the licensing process extensively. Which was new, of course, for me at that time. But I knew by the time I started there, I knew I wanted to have my own company eventually.
I see.
That when you're creative and you love to sell, it's just a matter of time. So, I read a lot of books, and it always said 12 years. 12 years is the time length, more or less the amount of time, the time frame that you should try and absorb and learn as much as you possibly can before you try and enter into your own situation. So,
interesting advice. Okay.
that was in books. That's not coming from me. So I was just kind of following the roadmap. And I had been in Europe a lot, at Nuremberg in particular, and seen lines that weren't being distributed into the United States. So the initial thought process was, let's bring these lines in just for specialty, deal with just specialty stores.
Okay.
But within like 6 months of starting that and realizing, wow, this is going to be a really uphill battle of selling plush, into these retailers, I had the opportunity to sign the license for Boglins with my great friend, Tim Clark.
Okay.
Tim and I had known each other since our days at Melissa and Doug. Tim designed a ton of products, all of my favorite products. Tim had designed. And one day I found out that Tim was the guy who had brought Boglins out. And I'm a huge fan. I'm a fanboy of all the 80s toys, because I was that kid in the 80s that would go to the toy store, specialty store, and have that discovery, and knew the toy store owners as a kid, and they would say, "Hey, Chris, check this out," and I was passionate about that discovery process even as a kid. And so we brought Boglins back with a Kickstarter, and I had a $20,000 goal because I literally got the Boglins license very inexpensively, let's put it that way, because he was my friend. And I put a higher royalty rate up. I knew to do that. I put a higher royalty rate up that I would be able to get it pretty cheap. And I made a good deal for myself. And we had a goal of, I think, 20,000 on the Kickstarter, and we did $247,000.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Okay.
And I did all the marketing myself on that, so I didn't hire any outside companies or anything like that.
Nice.
So that was a surprise, to be honest with you.
I want to dive into that a little bit. So you say you did the whole campaign by yourself and able to raise $250,000. What do you did differently that all the other Kickstarter campaign wasn't doing?
Well, I don't give myself credit actually at all. You know, Tim had built a fan base of over 11,000 Instagram followers.
Okay.
And so the minute I launched, it didn't go crazy initially. So I thought it'd be easy to manage. And then, you know, fast forward, I think, you know, I was unpacking a container a week for a while.
Oh, whoa.
It went on for like a year like that, where I was doing like a container a week. And on top of that, I was shipping containers FOB to 31 countries on Boglins. So it kind of went under the radar, you know, but we did a lot of damage on Boglins. It helped me pay off a lot of stuff and move the company forward. Boglins, Boglins. And if you don't know about Boglins, I highly recommend you have Tim on, and he's just a fascinating character. And Boglins was a toy in the 80s that piggybacked all that Gremlins kind of lore, that creepy lore. So Tim was known as the king of gross, believe it or not. That if you look him up on the line, I think that's what they called him. And, you know, he did the Muppets. This is one of his creations. And I find out he did Boglins. We bring Boglins back. And then I had to move because the volume was so much. I had to move back to the north where my family and my friends all live. So I could get help. I didn't have the bodies I needed. I couldn't hire people. Nobody wanted to unload containers, not even for like $25 an hour. Nobody wanted to do it. So I couldn't get bodies on it. And then Boglins actually went back to Mattel. So Mattel had done like $100 million on Boglins in the 80s.
They bought it back? Or?
So what happened was the license expired. And I knew that if I did a good job, that it was going back to Mattel. You know, I wouldn't be able to compete.
I see.
And so I'm happy for Tim. And I'm happy for Seven Towns and all the folks involved. And you can see the New Yorker article yourself. You know, I'm not the first to bring it up, so I'm not talking out of school. But there's a movie being made by Mattel, and it's like about this. So about
really? I didn't know that. Okay.
So I'm really anxious to see. And, you know, we limited the production on some of the Boglins to like 500 units, and we numbered them. And so when this goes big, and it will, then all those collectors that stuck with us are going to beat the rewards, because these are going to be valuable. And we really are excited to see where this goes with Mattel.
I see. So I guess I want to transition to your most recent project, which is, I believe, is a Snooze Monster project that you're working on. Can you kind of talk about that, since you have one of the characters there as well?
Sure. Well, this is an iteration of Coltrane. Initially, we had created something called Monster Brigade. Tim Clark of Jim Henson fame, Fraggle Rock, Muppets, etc., Dark Crystal. He and I worked on a line of monsters. We were going to make your own monster puppets with snaps, where you could take the snaps and move the parts around. We still intend to do this, by the way, with the leg on the arm, etc.
Okay.
But it ended up kind of morphing into this bigger idea of what's the biggest problem in society with young children. And in my opinion, it's the internet, telephones, and lack of tactile, lack of experiential, lack of knowledge-based learning based on going out and experiencing things instead of staring at a screen. So how do we get the conversation started? How do we get parents reading to kids again? How do we introduce these characters? All these things kind of came to fruition. And, you know, so we decided to create a line of father or mother with child plush.
Okay.
They all are packaged. They're tagged together for in-store sale, and then they can be separated upon purchase. And you get a mom and a baby, or a dad and a baby. And the cool thing about Snooze Monsters is we're going to release 12 every time we release a series. Series 1 is set to release in November. And every time we do 12, there'll be one monster. So Coltrane, this is Coltrane on my lap here. Coltrane will be released as the first monster in the group with his son, Washington Jr., and there'll be all
Okay.
these other animals with babies, but the difference is there's a QR code sewn in on the mom or the dad
Yeah.
and tag. So there's two places the QR code appears that triggers an original online bedtime story
Oh,
from
okay.
Tim Clark and I
Okay.
that features the characters that we've created. But beyond
Mhm.
that, they all intertwine in their own world, sort of our own 100 acres woods, if you would. And they all intertwine and interrelate, and there's lesson learning, and they're cute stories, they're fun stories. And we're having them illustrated by this fantastic illustrator named Vanessa, who
Oh,
we're going to
nice.
introduce eventually here. And she's doing a fantastic job bringing our characters to life, the
Mhm.
story to life through illustration. But the amazing part of this QR code concept is eventually it will grow. We can change the stories out. We can offer a
Mm,
different story with different color variations. We
I
can
see.
limit the amount of series 1 or 2 or 3 that we produce, so they
I
become
see.
collectible plush. So
Okay.
that's the other part of this. And so,
I see
we're
that.
not going to make 50,000 of one ever. So these are going to be
Mhm.
highly collectible. And,
See. Okay.
we know the stories will get out, but the idea is that the QR code travels with the animal, the story travels with the animal. And eventually, my goal is if it takes off the way I think it's going to, it seems to be. I mean, I've pre sold the whole first batch is pre
Oh,
sold.
congratulations.
Thank
Okay.
you very
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
And it's sold, to specialty retailers, 2 and 6 at a time.
Yeah.
We're really excited to have wide breadth coverage on the line. And yeah, that's where we're headed. And we're very, very excited. Tim just went to a show with it for the first time and had a
Mm.
tremendous response to the characters. And people are
Mm.
very excited.
Nice, 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 nice. So what are some of the marketing strategy you're doing right now, getting the launch ready?
Well, just pulling the stories together. We, over the years, my constant contact emails campaigns go to like 30,000 retailers,
Oh, okay.
B2B retailers. But I also now have a B2C,
Mhm.
constant contact through this Boglins experience that
Mhm.
they're all going to be so into the Tim thing. So I have
Mm.
30,000 consumers. And
I
once I
see.
put it out to those consumers, these are very active consumers. I don't have
Mhm.
to tell them to repost. You'll
Mhm.
see. They're going to repost on their own
I
and it'll go semi-viral in this community on its own.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I think the audience is really the key to your success. That passionate audience about the creations that you and Tim have created over the years. So I want to next switch focus a little bit on today's conversation because I know you have multiple projects going on. Can we also talk about the other project you also run, which is Half Toy? Like, what have you done with the Half Toys, and kind of give the audience a little bit background about it too?
Sure, sure. So, okay, well, let's start at the very beginning. Half Toys is a product that is that 3D print style product,
Mhm.
but also it's magnetized. So imagine
Okay.
a T-Rex, no articulation, right? So it's
Yeah.
just a solid frame, but cut in half with
Mhm.
magnets, like nanomagnets
Oh, okay.
inside of it in a, patented technology that is
Mhm.
safe.
Okay.
And so this thing clicks shut. You have that fidget type
Mm.
experience with it. And inside is a skeleton that you can
Mhm.
separate as a puzzle and put back together, which hits all the things for me. I mean, you've got the fidget piece, you've got a
Mhm.
magnet toy, and
Mhm.
you've got a puzzle. Um,
Puzzle. Okay.
and
Okay.
they're safe for 3 up, so
Mm.
it's great puzzle for young children, but it's also a
Mhm.
toy they can bring with them. The puzzle self-stores as the toy.
I
So
see.
to get to your bigger question, I had no knowledge of Half Toys headed into Nuremberg this year. I'm not going to lie to
Yes.
you, tell you I knew the product. I did not know it. I saw it for the first time in this back hall in a lesser traveled hall of Nuremberg,
Mhm.
and I said, I had that same type of moment of discovery like when I was a child. I mean, that's what I do when I go to Nuremberg. I do 3, 4, 5 days on my feet playing
Mhm.
with toys and trying to find something that would be unique and different and not here. And then
Yes.
I bring that back to my 700 retailers, my key retailers. I have 700 retail partners that are my key retailers, and I
Yeah.
bounce those off of them. And they say, "Don't do it. I've done it." Listen, it sells, but we had to mark it down to sell. And so,
Okay.
and the diorama does not add value. Well, at least there's going to be people that argue with that, of course.
Yeah.
But the retailers are saying, if you can get the price point down, the package is too big. So we
Mhm.
went back to the drawing board. I said, well, we need something peggable and shelvable,
Okay.
something with collectability inside of it so that there's a
Okay.
collector's chart all over this thing now.
Yeah.
And so they know what other characters are available. There's 24 currently. There's going to be a plethora of new ones next year. We're
Mm.
very, very excited about. We're actually, this is an exclusive for you. Here you go. Tim Clarkson talks with Half Toys about development of a potential Halloween line. That would drive the fans crazy. So we know that would drive sales. So we've got a lot of really great things planned with the team at Half Toys. They're really wonderful to work with. I have to say, we work with a lot of great companies, but they are so quick to email and they're just on their game. And so we got it cheaper and we got it smaller and we got it in a more merchandisable package. I don't like to sell plastic. I mean, if anyone visits the website, triactiontoys.com, triactiontoys.com, if you go there, you're going to see almost no plastic. But what you will see is Half Toys are plastic. So we've made the packaging an open package, recyclable, with nothing but cardboard holding this product firmly in place so that we make up for the carbon footprint where we can.
Okay. Yeah, that's very important for the planet for sure.
Correct.
So
Yeah, we try and stay away from plastic, but you know, this is a fantastic toy, and we have an opportunity to at least save on the plastic within the packaging.
So I would say, well, it sounds like one of the few major changes is definitely the packaging, and also you're able to get the products smaller and lower the price. How much additional success was that able to bring to that particular product line?
Well, you know, we're just getting it on shelves. I mean, it just went out.
Oh, it just went out. Okay.
Yeah, it just went out. I mean, we just relaunched it, but initial reaction is very good.
Okay. I see. So what would you say over the year, like how do you see the toy industry being changed, you know, especially now in the digital age? Just like you mentioned earlier, a lot of kids is not playing with the toy as much as before anymore. Like we as a marketer and business owner, we in the industry, what would be some of your suggestion and some of the observation that you have?
Yeah, I would say to you, I think that we're going back to a really exciting place. I am very excited because, well, let's go back further. We started with movies, cartoons, television shows, really moving the needle. You know, I mean, let's use Star Wars as an example, right? A license that's huge, but it ebbs and flows depending on what's going on.
Yes, yeah.
I think retailers would say that they still sell a lot of licensed products from these types of drivers, but that overall, that's less and less what the consumers are coming in looking for. They're looking for things they're seeing online. They're looking for things that, you know, so-and-so influencer may have brought to the table. I would say that, you know, a lot of more of it is influencer based, but why I'm excited is because I think toy stores are really a place of experience again. Think of it this way. We've gone from a place where mom, and I really believe this too, that where mom goes from, hey, I see such and such product on TikTok and I want to have that for my child. We've gone from that to they want to go to the toy store. They want to discover that product. They want to post about it. They want to be the influencer. That's why I'm excited. So I think we're back to the 1980s. I think they're going to be coming into toy stores saying, show me what you've got. They're going to be looking through things more and more. Then they're going to post all about it because everybody wants to be famous, right? I mean, I guess. Not me so much. I just want to sell some toys, but I would say to you, I think it's obvious that's where it's headed. I mean, look at the internet.
Yeah. Like the success of the Ryan Toys is a YouTube channel that started out with like just reviewing toys, but they have their own lines in Walmart at the end. So and they're doing really, really well because of the content, and that's kind of the trend right now. Like just like you say, like kids nowadays, my kids, I have 3 kids, they watch more YouTube than TV. We don't watch TV at home. So yeah.
But how long until your kids are going to want to go to the toy store, find something no one else knows about it, and do their own videos?
Yeah. 100%.
That's where it's going. I mean, that's where it's going, you know, for sure. So that's why these toy stores, when I get on the phone with them and I explain that to them, I get passionate like you know, you're so passionate. Having talked to you before this, I mean, wow, like you got me energized, you know.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I just think that it's an exciting place to be when you tell this toy store, hey, if you give me a corner of your store, I'm going to outperform everything else there. Watch. And it continues to happen. And it's because they don't see my stuff at Walmart. My stuff's gated online at Amazon and everywhere else. So it never sells, not once, underpriced. We maintain MSRP every day.
Yeah, that's very important.
And no one's a showroom for Amazon. That's not what we're here to do.
Yes. That's very important. That's a common concern with a lot of the retailers as well. So yeah, but I think branding and like audience building is really the key for, I think, for the industry, or at least for the toys and brand that still want to grow. Having your own audience, like a loyal following that you have with Tim, I think that's the kind of the secret to your success as well. So, but now looking ahead, into the future, what are some of your plans for the upcoming years? So,
Well, I mean, based on the initial response to Snooze Monsters, we already are into series 2 and getting that up to speed. We're definitely elaborating on half toys. And in Teddy Company I can't say enough about my Swedish partners. They're just the most lovely people you'll ever meet in your life. And, we just continue to expand our line with them. I mean, I went to them and said, we need to do these 2 other ballerina styles. We just did cat ballerina and elephant ballerina for the first time with them. And they're my best selling plush. Boom, right out the door. It became my number 1 and my number 2, right out the gate. And so it's just, they're wonderful to work with. I mean, you couldn't go to most other manufacturers and say, hey, I know it's not your idea necessarily, but can we do this?
yeah.
But in your style, can you be in charge of it? And, but
Yeah.
we need this, can we elaborate on this line? Can we expand this line? So I would tell you, we're definitely going to continue to expand the ballerina line like substantially, because they were the first ones to do it. Long before anyone else, they had this. They've been in business for over 25 years.
I see.
And so we'll continue to elaborate with and grow our line with Teddy Company. And then, I've got a lot of different conversations going with different folks. But I always, at this point, I wait to Nuremberg. I meet with those folks. I see what else is there. And we'll certainly be adding lines. I mean, we're up 63% year over year.
Congrats. Okay.
Thank you very much. And so we are looking towards the future and adding more lines and just expanding the ones that are working, as we phase out some of the other things we've been doing, like the Lady Glingos. We had the late Patipitos. That's gone away. So, we're learning what works and what doesn't, and that line is a wonderful line, but it was a very trend driven line.
Okay.
And so we're looking for that next trend.
Got it. And your model sounds like you kind of have a licensing agreement. Is that how you typically work with the partner that you have? Or how do you structure the deal typically?
It's with Boglins was licensed. Nothing else I've participated in at this time is a licensing agreement. I'm either a distribution partner with some level of exclusivity within the market.
Yeah.
Or I'm manufacturing. Tim has 100 great ideas. So I would say to you, when you ask what's on tap for next year, it's going to be high Tim Clark content. Like he's got a couple things that, we've got a couple really great ones that I've got prototypes just sitting, but you want to give everything its space. And if you try and put everything out at once, nothing gets its due diligence. I saw that at various places, especially early on. It's hard to give everything
attention it deserves. Yeah, for sure. And so it sounds like you do both then. You do distribution and you also manufacture your own line.
Yeah, with Tim, it's all manufacturing. With Boglins, it was manufacturing. With Snooze Monsters, it's manufacturing. But we love our distribution partners and, definitely look for expansion there too. I refuse to fit cleanly and neatly into one bucket. I want to be a one-stop solution for the specialty retailer that wants to stay in business. Because if they keep carrying the same products, it's on Amazon and Walmart cheaper. If it's in Walmart or it's in Target, sorry, carry only what you need to carry because you are systematically driving down your dollars per square inch.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue for sure. So for your distribution strategy, do you only offer the product to the specialty store and don't offer those same product online? Well, what is your strategy there?
So I have key online players that have demonstrated over the years just total loyalty in terms of holding, full value of the product and not dumping it, never dumping. And on top of that, they're invested in me. Like we're friends, and I'm invested in them. And if there's a problem, I'm there. So I think the key to this online environment, and I really feel like this is really, really key.
Yeah.
I'll use an example. Tommy John underwear. I'm going to go ahead and use this. It's a great product if you have never heard about it. I have nothing invested, okay? Yeah. But I kept hearing about it on various radio programs and I tried it out. And then I went to go get it on Amazon and Amazon didn't have large, which is, standard size. And in 2 seconds later on my internet feed, boom, Tommy John hits me with a direct consumer ad, driving me back to their website where they make full margin. So the future is not Amazon. Let me say that again. No one's going to buy this, but the future's not Amazon. Amazon is using everybody right now to get rich.
Yeah.
Okay. They're playing everyone. They're the only ones making money. Look, where it's headed is direct to consumer via your own website, but at full price every day. You got to maintain your full price. No retailer's going to get mad, but here's the difference. You're making full margin. You're making full margin. Like I do very well on triaction.com every day, triactiontoys.com every day, but it's at full price. There's never a sale. Like I don't have to run sales. I just leave it there and they order, and then it doesn't compete with my retailers. You know, I don't want my retailers to be a showroom. If anything, I typically give my retailers 10% off invoice if they buy enough, you know? I also guarantee the sale. So if they're domestic, they can send things back if it's not working. See, no one else is doing that anymore. It's a lot of mess. But if your stuff sells, it's not a mess, you know? So we're really cool about the curation process.
Yeah, that's a very good piece of advice. I think going D2C is kind of the way to go, but it's also a lot of moving pieces for D2C to work correctly. There's SEO, there's email, there's like text marketing, there's blog, content, social media. It's just a lot of more pieces that I think a lot of the traditional like business owner we in the toys and game space are not so familiar with, because sometimes they are over relying on distribution and they don't have the skill set or the team or the knowledge to do D2C marketing correctly. I think that's like the common thread I see when I'm talking to people in the industry is like, I want to do more D2C, but I don't know where to start. So that is like a common issue.
They need to hire you. They need to hire you.
So we do offer that as a service.
I already know that. I haven't hired him yet, but I understand. I already know that. But I would say, you know, these big companies, I'll go ahead and say it. I haven't worked there, so I can say this. If I was at Mattel, I would absolutely be looking at what I'm saying to them, which is stop worrying about selling more units.
Okay.
You can sell less units. You can make a lot more EBITDA. You can make a lot more profit. You've got to think differently. You've got to bring this in-house. You have to have people like my friend here in-house, ideally, working just for you day in and day out to tackle this. And you have to do it in a way that's cognizant of the fact that you are, in essence, competing with your retailers. But if you keep at full price every day and you market the product hard online the correct way to build brand equity, you are going to drive those sales to those retailers. They're going to love you for it. And you offer discounts to the retailers. And by the way, specialty gets the best price. Then mid-tier gets a higher price. Then mass gets the worst price. See, they won't do it that way. These big companies, they're backwards. Worry about the burn rate on the small stores. My burn rate, and this is true, my burn rate over $6 million in sales, less than 1%, because I have relationships with these specialty retailers and they don't want to hurt me.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So as well, wrapping up today's conversation for the interview, if you had to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys and game industry, what would that be?
Work for other people that know a lot more than you and learn as much as you can every day from those people. And there's always more to learn and it's always changing. So try not to get frustrated. I mean, you're going to hit a million walls and then one day you're going to start making money and they're going to say, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
Yeah, they only see the surface. They don't see all the hard work behind the scene, 100%.
They're not there unloading the containers, I can tell you.
For sure.
I lost 40 pounds. People always say, how do you lose the weight? I say, unloading containers.
Yeah, that is definitely a workout by unloading containers. So again,
that's good advice. Start by seeing if you can unload a container. You're going to do it on your own at least once.
Yeah, I see. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you again for your time, for being on our show and sharing your experience and your journey within the toys and game industry.
Thank you for having me. You're a pleasure to speak with. And I'm definitely going to go back and watch all your previous episodes, having spoken with you before this interview. I think there's a lot I can learn just by listening. So thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for joining us. And for our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource, tips, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag #ToyBusinessUnboxed. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.